Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to take a look at whether you should summon on the new blue Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku Exchange Cross Tag Vegeta unit with a new standby skill. Yeah, basically they released a brand new unit with a brand new mechanic that has not really been seen before in Legends. It looks really cool, really interesting, and yeah, in general I think it's pretty rad. So we're going to take a look at that unit and discuss whether you should summon on the banner, considering how close it is to Annie. Now first things first, if you want to summon because you really like the unit and they look really cool, then go for it. Please, I don't want you guys to think that you can't summon just because I say maybe don't. So getting that out the way, let's take a look. So in terms of special move, when you're in Goku form, you got obviously the Super Dragon attack. You deal massive damage, plus 30% special damage, minus 30% to enemy sustained damage CUT effects. Pretty stock standard abilities. The big mechanic that's been added in with these guys is the switch ability. So this is completely new and has never been seen before. But basically, if your unique gauge is full, you will enter a transcendent Kamehameha preparation mode. Okay, you will switch into Vegeta, who reverses his element factors, so he becomes a raid card, basically. You will draw a special card, restore your own health if you're below 50%, minus 10 to your special arts card cost. You will reduce damage received while in this mode. You will nullify unfavorable element factors for damage sustained while in this mode. You will seal the enemy's Rising Rush for 15 timer counts while in this mode. You, however, cannot activate Rising Rush, use switch abilities, or switch characters while you're in Transcendent Kamehameha mode. You can be sealed, so Master Roshi can still seal you, and if you're defeated, basically the Transcendent Kamehameha mode ends. Once the timer elapses, which is 15 timer counts, you will activate a Transcendent Kamehameha that targets the entire battlefield once when your own unique gauge reaches 0. So as the unique gauge times down, you will fire a huge AoE Transcendent Kamehameha, and at the end of it you will switch to Goku. During this, it will basically nullify unfavorable element factors. It nullifies restoration of health effects. It has plus 30% to damage inflicted for 2 timer counts if there's 1 defeated enemy battle member, plus 50% if there's 2 battle members that are defeated, and it will do damage to enemies that are on standby as well. It's pretty crazy. Basically, it's just like a huge, massive nuke. It can't be evaded. It can't be cover changed against. It can't defeat standby enemies. So basically, it won't be able to defeat standby enemies. It also won't activate their nullification at 0 effect if they are on standby. And there's some rules regarding it in full power mode, but it's it's pretty crazy. It's really nuts how strong this is. If your vanishing or your unique gauge is not full, you will just switch to Vegeta, reverse your element factors, restore some health and ki, and yeah, basically that's it. You can only use this move once, so if you use it, it then disappears and you can't use it again. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Special skill restores health and ki, which is pretty straightforward, and they are pretty good tag lead with Saiyan, Son Family, Vegeta Clan all being pretty good, and adding some additional for Majin Buu Saga, which has some decent upgrades, or so it seems. In terms of unique ability, it's pretty common between the two of them, but 90% to damage inflicted, 40% to damage inflicted, reduction of damage by 65%. Some reduction to blast art card costs. When you switch, you restore your ki, you will have plus 50% to damage inflicted, and you will nullify abnormal conditions as well. Every time you use an arts card cost while you are Goku, you will increase your arts card draw speed, and you will nullify enemy special actions for 10 timer counts when you switch in. In terms of the second passive, you have a cover change, which will allow you to draw a special arts card next, randomly destroy one of the enemy's cards, and cover change successfully against blast based attacks. And obviously, if you have the ability to, or you'll charge your own unique gauge every time you switch, And basically once the unique gauge is full, you restore your health, you do additional damage, and you shorten your substitution counters by 10 if they activate the Rising Rush while this character is on the battlefield. So basically to try and get these guys out of a bad situation. So when you switch to Vegeta, there's not too much crazy that changes. Vegeta's a little bit more defensively sound than Goku. His special move remains the same. His switch ability is relatively the same, just with key restoration factors and randomly drawing one card when you have 3 or fewer or less. His special skill is completely different. He has Desperate Defense, which basically restores your own health and ki, gives you an increase to damage inflicted, but while you are in Transcendent Kamehameha mode, it will nullify the enemy's tap action, strike arts, and blast arts while in fighting pose, and the following effects occur if the attacks are nullified. You will seal all enemies' main abilities, you'll destroy all your enemies' cards, and you will do a shockwave released when the attacks are nullified, which knocks the enemy back to long range. So basically it's a defensive special skill designed to just buy some time, which kind of makes sense considering the whole gimmick behind switching into Vegeta is to essentially have the Transcendent and Kamehameha fire off. Vegeta is a little bit stronger defensively. He has 70% damage reduction compared to Goku 65. He has a further reduced Blast Arts card cost, and he also nullifies his own attribute downgrades as well as providing some health restoration whenever he uses an arts card cost. So Vegeta is definitely obviously a holdout unit, healing, increased kind of damage reduction. He's got that nullification ability. He just isn't necessarily an offensive related unit. It's not that he's terrible offensively, but he doesn't have some of the same offensive maneuvers Goku does. Goku increases his arts card draw speed, etc. He does a lot of things that kind of enable him to combo up, whereas Vegeta is more destroying the enemy's cards, sealing them, nullification, health restoration. And it makes sense because Vegeta's entire premise is to hold out for the Transcendent and Kamehameha. The other units on the banner, you've got the Ss4 duo, who are pretty good still. A very solid unit for destroying blue enemies. A very good counter for the blue Beast Gohan. And then you also have Yellow Bardock, who's pretty solid. Yellow Ss4 limited Goku, who's pretty good. Boo's kind of a weird one. He doesn't really fit on the team. And the Zenkai for blue Martian Vegeta is also not too bad. I would say the only real shame is these guys didn't release with a banner unit. So, MUI Goku released with Master Roshi, who is a great banner unit that kind of really augmented the MUI unit. These guys don't have that. They are getting a Zenkai to Super Saiyan 2 Angel Goku. We obviously got a Zenkai to the Martian Vegeta. We got Pui, who kind of buffs units as well. So it's not like we got nothing, but yeah, it feels like a shame that they didn't get a banner unit. They are getting pretty solid Zenkai boost from Super Saiyan 2 Angel Goku. Vegeta's Zenkai was pretty good, the red Vegeta, and there is some crossover, but there's not a lot of blast options. Remember, these are still a blast orientated unit, but it doesn't matter too much because the big thing is obviously their Transcendent and Kamehameha. So as much as we can talk about them being a blast unit and them needing this and that to kind of function, in reality the whole premise of them is to have them function as a this new gimmick, this new kind of standby mechanism gimmick thing that could be very, very interesting. So that's where they're going to do a lot of damage, and they will do a lot of damage. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, Goku's a bit more offensively related, obviously with the ability to build up combo speed and the ability to be a bit more offensively minded. And then switching into Vegeta gives you a bit more of a defensive unit. You have to switch twice to be able to fill up the gauge, and you still have to switch a third time to activate the Transcendent and Kamehameha. So it's not super easy to get. If you take a look here, you can see just how long it is taking. like to get it all done. Obviously, if you combo well and you keep switching, you will be able to do it. But yeah, it is important to note that it's, you know, you still have to switch, I think, at minimum 3 times to get the Transcendent and Kamehameha. And generally you do want to enter that phase with, you know, relatively full health, or, you know, with Vegeta sitting pretty well up. Once you switch over, you then have to still wait the entire timer count. Now obviously you can't be rising rushed, which is good. Enemy can't really seal out, you can't really switch out though. So, yeah, it's not so cut and dry, but it is at least a very nice situation where you can't just be insta one-shot by a rising rush or something. And you'll see that the, you know, lockout timer for the rising rush and the switching is all directly correlated to the Transcendent and Kamehameha. So there's no ways for the enemy to kind of prevent this, except for sealing abilities, which obviously still can cause you a lot of problems. And that's fine by me. I think that it's good that it is counterable, considering there's very much a chance that people would just try and bunker down to get it fired. So being able to counter it is pretty good. At least I think so. Overall, it's, yeah, they're a very interesting unit. They look very, very solid. I think their teams, yeah, covering Saiyan is cool, but I think, you know, look, you can run them on any team. And blast teams have gotten a lot stronger. We've gotten a lot of blast options. You can run them as a lead on a team. Their skills got good coverage. Yeah, they look really good. So if you're going to summon on them, then I'm not going to blame you. I think, personally speaking, there's enough of a reason to summon on them, just even out of sheer interest, to see how good the mechanic is. Like, yeah, it is probably counterable, but it still looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like an interesting new playstyle. So yeah, if you want to summon, I think go for it. I think at the end of the day, it is quite close to Annie, but I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are roughly on par with Annie units. Yeah, if we look back, I think generally speaking, you know, these guys should be on par, or at least a little bit below the Annie units. But I think overall, you're okay to summon, especially if you're really into the mechanic. I think it's okay. So yeah, that's it from me. See you guys next time. Bye.